So you have one of these little netbooks, and they're just perfect. They're very portable, they're small, they're very light, and they're looking cool. But there is one big problem that you may have encountered before. They don't have an optical drive for your CDs or DVDs. Of course, you can always get one of these little external optical drives that hook up to your netbook using the USB port. I found out that prices are starting at around €40, which actually is quite a good price. However, I found a solution that is even cheaper than that, and that is just perfect for all the people who just need such an external optical drive maybe once or twice a year. All you need is an ordinary PC computer IDE, CD or DVD drive that you may have lying around somewhere. Or you can take it out of an old computer, and if you really don't have one of these, you can always get one. They are really cheap. The other thing you need is one of these kits. Now this is a 5.25-inch external enclosure for CD, ROM or DVD drives. And this thing came off eBay, and it cost me only €18.99. Now there is one important thing, and that is you want to get a USB to IDE adapter in this box if you have an IDE drive. There are also versions with USB to SATA adapter. Those are for the more modern SATA drives, and those are harder to find in old computers, and if you want to buy them, they are a bit more expensive. Now, let's see what we have inside of this box. You do get your external power supply, which you do need because you're using a big drive. It's not powered just from the netbook's USB. That's the only big disadvantage you really have. You also get a power cable, which I could not fit back into this box. You get USB cable. Now there, of course, is your box, and unfortunately they had to print that onto the box in big letters. That's something I don't like. You get a manual that you may or may not want to read, and very important, you get your screws. Here we have the external box taken out of the plastic so that we can take a closer look. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty high quality aluminum case. The end parts, of course, are made of plastic. This is the back. As you can see, we have the USB jack, the power input jack. We have a nice high quality power switch. That is high quality, as you can hear. And we have audio outputs. Now these only work if you hook up the separate analog audio outputs of your drive to these. You have to have a special cable for that, and that cable does not come with the drive. Now, on the front, of course, we have a big opening for the CD drive or DVD drive, and down in there you can already see the connectors. Now let's go ahead and assemble our external optical drive. The first thing you do is you take the whole drive completely apart. You take out the screws on the sides so you can take off the front and the back part and put that to the side. Now you take your optical drive, and once again this can be both CD and DVD. Make sure that your jumper on the back is in the master position. Then you take your back part, which has this IDE cable attached to it, and you plug that into there, into the IDE jack. Then you take the power connector, and once again you plug that in like this. And then you go ahead, take the box, make sure you have it all on the right side, like this. And then you slide in your optical drive from the back, like this. I found that to be the most easiest method. So put that in. Now you can already take one of the small screws and screw the back part in place, so you don't have that coming loose all the time anymore. Like that. Don't make it too tight. Then you turn it around, and then of course you take your big screws and a big screwdriver. Make sure you're using the proper screwdrivers. These screws are rather cheap, and you don't want to damage them. Then you go ahead and put them into the side. I now have the screws in place. There are 2 on each side, of course. And now comes the tricky part, and that's actually the reason why this is take 2. You want to make sure that the DVD drive or the optical drive is all the way out of the case, so you really have those screws sitting as far out to this direction as they'll go. And then you can start to tighten up these screws, and that really is a bit tricky because you want to make sure that you have equal spacing on either side. Okay, and now you go ahead and you take the frame and put that back onto the front. That once again can be a little bit tricky to do. Alright, there we have that. And now, once again, you go ahead, take the small screws and screw them in. When you have the 2 front screws in place, turn around and put in the remaining screw on the back. There we go. Don't make it too tight because you don't want to damage the plastic. And there you have it. Now, as a final step, I would recommend to put some rubber feet underneath this housing so that you don't have the case scratching the table or vice versa. So now we can go ahead and try it out. I now have my netbook turned on, and I have the external drive hooked up to the mains. So what you now do, and make sure that the drive is turned off with the power switch, what you now do is you take the USB cable and plug that into your laptop. Then you turn on the drive, and the computer detects that there is an external drive hooked up, and now give it a try. Right here I have an audio CD. It's now reading, and now the computer is thinking about what to do now. And there is our playback of the CD. Now this all looks like everything was working perfectly, but unfortunately that's not the case. I came across a bunch of problems that I really want to explain to you so that you don't end up getting one of these things to then find out that it doesn't work for you. Now, I put in a DVD recorder, but for some reason it does not record DVDs. Apparently the interface in the box does not work for that. When you put in a blank DVD, it just says that it can't read the format, and that's it. Now, it will record CDs, so that's kind of weird. So what I would recommend to do is to put in a DVD recorder, because then you can play back both CD and DVD, and you can still record CDs at least. Now the next thing, these are the test results for Windows 7. I'm running Windows 7 on this netbook. When I hooked this external drive up to my PC, which is running Windows XP, I ended up with a bunch of weird problems that I quickly want to explain to you. Now, I'm not sure if those problems are caused by the external drive or if they are caused by the PC, because the system on there is somewhat messed up. But what happened was, each time I tried accessing the disk inside the drive, the Windows Explorer crashed. When I tried playing an audio CD using the Windows Media Player, guess what? The Media Player crashed. Now, for some weird reason, the VLC Media Player worked perfectly. So, if you're using a Windows XP system and you want to use this external drive along with it, you might end up having a bunch of weird problems. This might be caused by a missing driver, but this case does not come with any kind of a driver CD, so I'm not exactly sure about that. So there you have it, a very, very cheap way to get an external CD or DVD drive for your netbook. Now, because of the problems I had with this external drive, I would only recommend this solution to those people who do know a bit about computers. So, there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and see you again soon.